Today we're doing brakes. There's a reason why we're doing brakes, and I'll show you. And also we're trying this mic thing. So we've been having audio issues. It's only been 1 year. I don't know if it's this, or I don't know. I feel like it's DaVinci, what I edit in. But let's try this and hopefully that fixes the audio. That's my Evo. This is a brake fluid tester. Essentially what you do is you stick it in your brake fluid, which is there, and it will tell you how much water is in your fluid. So if it's 0%, you're good to go. 1 to 2 is okay. 3 to 4 is not very good. It says change of liquid is necessary. Danger. Okay, don't even think about it for a second. God damn. Look, even just looking at the fluid, look how dark it is. That looks atrocious. Essentially what happens, I believe, is that brake fluid absorbs water very easily, and when it absorbs water, it heats up and boils at a lower temperature. So that's black as hell. It obviously needs doing. Let's sort that out. But that's not all we're going to do. We also picked up some braided brake lines. These are from hell. Braided. There's some metal going on. The stock ones look like this. Like that. It's a rubber. What happens is these get old and they disintegrate, and these can collapse under high braking. I don't think we have that problem, but look, let's do that. Once that's mad, we also picked up some new brake pads. My Evo currently has Intima SS pads. They're not bad, but they squeak a little bit too much for my liking. We're running DBA rotors, T2s, so I figured let's put some DBA street performance pads on. Let's chuck these in and see how it goes. I do want to sort of set this car for the track eventually, which is one of the reasons why we're doing braided lines. So we may end up getting a set of pads that we swap in and out, but that's for the future. DBA streets for now. We're also going to be doing a full flush on the brake fluid. So this is kind of going to be like a 3-part thing. We're going to do the pads first while the brake fluid's still a bit crap, so we can move the pistons in and out to get the pads in. Then we're going to do the braided lines, and then we're going to do the flush at the end. This is the fluid that we are using. Penrite Racing Brake Fluid 600. I'd probably go to a 660 if we're going to be setting up for the track, but this should do for now. Naturally too, because the clutch runs off the brake fluid, we're also going to be bleeding the clutch, so that's going to be the other step. So the clutch, the master cylinder is over there, as you saw, mounted to the brake booster. The clutch master cylinder, or clutch thing, is just that thing there. So that's the nipple that we need to jump on to bleed the clutch down in there. Obviously I have quite a bit of room here thanks to my little battery relocation the other week. Step number 1, we're going to take the old pads out. These are quite simple. All you need pretty much is a screwdriver and a hammer, and there's these little holes in here that we're going to tap. That pin will slide out, that little retaining clip thing will pop out, and then the pads will just slide out. And there's one old Intima SS pad. As you can see, there's still plenty of meat on it, but they're a bit squeaky, so they're sacked. And this one should come out nice and easy, like so. Typically rotors should be resurfaced when you're doing pads. I'm not going to, because I'm just not. If you're wanting to know where you're at with your rotors, the rotor usually says on the side of what it is. It's pretty hard to see there, but it says minimum thickness 29.8. We get our, pick yourselves up one of these, 32.5. So we could have this resurfaced and it would be fine, but we're not. We have to throw those pads in. We move that out so we can get a bit of access better. The kit came with these. I have no idea what these are for. I have a feeling that these aren't for this car. These pads also do suit Holden, Nissan and something else, so I'm thinking that these are for another car. They look like little retaining pins. Levo doesn't use them, so I'm not going to worry about them, but if you know what those are for, let me know. Everything's filthy. Let's get some brake clean. Let's get this little brush thing and let's give this a little bit of a clean, and probably just along in there. Why is this purple? Oh my god. So that's how that looks, and that's how it's meant to look. God damn. What we're going to do is we're going to put these in. We've already put the shims on the back of it, and we're going to put a little bit of this high temp lubricant along the top and the bottom, because that's where the metal will contact with the metal of this, and if we don't do it, it's going to squeal, and we don't like that. Make sure you don't get any on the friction surface. Very good. Now we can put this fella in there. And that is one in. Now let's push those pistons out a little bit, and then we can get the next one in. Beautiful. Now all we have to do, stick a pin through, like so. Give him a little tap in the back so he's in nice and tight. Get our retaining clip thing, stick him up. I pulled the other pads out of the box to put the shims on the back, and I noticed that these have the metal wear detectors. What it will do is when the pad wears down, it'll wear and it'll start making a noise on that. So obviously one of these is meant to go on either side. I already put them in. I'm gonna pull one of them out, put this in, and then away we go. I realized that I had this on backwards like an idiot. That would have been terrible. I had it in like that. It has to go like that, because I was like, why is this so loose? It's not going, it's going in too easy. Clip that over. Push that down, push this on, this fell through here, something like that. That's how it goes. Alright, the second one's all finished up. Let's move on to the back. Alright, the rear have these tiny little baby brake pads. Let's get the old ones out and new ones in. Alright, that's the last one in. The good thing about Evos is that the pads are so easy to change. Like the last one took me like less than 5 minutes. So that's really good. If we're going to a mad track day, we can get a set of extreme ones and we can just bang them straight in right before, and then when we're done on the track we can just put these ones back in. So for this one we got some like Joker kind of vibes happening on up here. Green pad with a purple caliper, so that's very interesting. Not sure whether these are meant to go on the inside or the outside, but they're on the outside. If they're meant to go on the inside, somebody tell me. I don't really know. The Intimate SS pads didn't have them, so I've got no reference. But that's the pads done. Alright, now the pads are done, let's get to installing the braided lines. The first thing we're going to do is top up the fluid past the max line. We don't want any air getting into the lines, so let's get this thing topped up. So we've got it filled up now. It's hard to tell, but the color of the fluid is like pretty much white compared to obviously the black stuff that is below. Hopefully they won't mix. They probably shouldn't mix. So essentially when we flush it, it'll just work down until all the old stuff is out of the system. It's also important to mention to not get this stuff on your paint. It will destroy it. We don't want that. So these are pretty much all the tools you need. Bit of WD, you need a pair of pliers, you need a 14mm, and you need the 10mm flange. obviously you need the brake line. So we're gonna start with the front. This is the OEM brake line that's been in the car for 18 years. It connects up there, so we're gonna get some WD-40 on that. And then the banjo is down there, so we'll get some WD-40 on that to get that out. And then we're gonna stick our Mad Hell stainless one in, and it's gonna be pretty cool. I imagine these clips are to clip it on. We don't have the stock shocks, so probably won't end up using them. We've got a drain pan under here to catch the WD plus the fluid that we lose, which is gonna be inevitable. So we have this little flared spanner, which we're gonna use the 10mm end to loosen this up here. So it goes over the brake line and down. We've got a 14mm to loosen the banjo. That is the OEM line removed. Push that one up through. And put that there for the minute. Screw this filler in. That'll do for the minute. Now we want to run this thing with no twists or kinks or anything. So let's try and get it around the coil like so. We got all these brand new banjo bolts. Let's get this thing tightened up ASAP. There, put one of these over there, then we put it on there, and then we put this one against the caliper. So we'll end up going like this, through like that, one on there like that, and screw him in. That doesn't, oh no. See, this is why we topped up our brake fluid, because we are losing fluid. Let's get him screwed in. Okay, we can relax a little bit. It's not dripping brake fluid everywhere. I do also have this bottle of water. I'm just squirting this on everywhere where the brake fluid gets and then wiping it down. I mean, I don't really care if it destroys the paint on this, but you know, gotta do what we can do. So now up here we can tighten this down properly and put this clip back in. It did take me a minute to work out how to get this clip out. You basically just get pliers on it and just pull it. So then you just push back in. Might get a hammer and give that a little knock. Old rubber braided line is out of here. The new stainless braided line is in. This was a little bit tricky to work out. Essentially, you undo that nut, bolt thing, whatever you want to call it, till that's undone, and then you get some pliers, and this top tab you pull out. That was what I was struggling to work out, how you actually got the rubber line out of here. You pull that tab out, and then you pull the line down. Nice. Goes around the back. I need to clip this up properly. I don't really like where it sits, and then I may change the angle of how this comes in, because it's a little bit, I'm not super happy with how that comes in. I might bring it up and down more, but I'm gonna play around with that real quick. But essentially, that's how the first one looks. Very nice. So with this one, for example, I'm planning ahead a little bit more. I know that it's gonna go in there like that, and then you can see that the actual banjo doesn't really angle properly. It really needs to be down more like that. So what we can do is we can get this, and then if we hold on, I need to work out the angle. If we clamp onto it on the metal part, we can actually get a screwdriver in here and move that to where we need it. So now, if I put that in there, that's gonna go in a lot better. The banjo bolt gets torqued between 14 and 24 foot-pounds. Boom. That's the rear one done. I'm just gonna spray a bit of this down because there's a bit of brake fluid everywhere. Now's probably a good time to check our fluid in the reservoir and make sure there's plenty in there. We want to keep topping it off to make sure we get no air in the system. Yep, so it's just below half now. It was topped off right to the top, and now it's pretty much at this line here. So let's fill that up again. Also worth mentioning that the Evo Brembos have two of these little bits sticking out. The braided line goes in between the two bits. It's hard to see, but there's another one on the bottom, and it kind of holds the line in just like that. Oh, rust. What is that? What on earth? That is all the braided lines on. That is all the pads in. Now it's time to bleed them, but it's late, so I'm gonna do it in the morning. I'll see you then. All right, it's the next day. Let's flush the clutch. So the clutch, as I showed before, is down there. There's the bleeder valve for it. So we're gonna utilize this little bottle thing. This end's gonna go over the nipple. We're probably gonna use one of these little things. This has to go higher, and we have to make sure we have enough fluid in the reservoir. Got my little bottle hanging there. We've got this little end on there. Let's see if we can crack this bleeder. Let's put this fella on the top of it. Now, essentially what we have to do is go pump the clutch a couple of times, and then this thing should fill up. Whoa. To the floor. Come here. Let's go see what happens. We have air bubbles, my friends, and we have fluid. Look how dirty and disgusting it is. Let's do some more pumping. Let's get all that out of there. So we're filling it up with liquid. There's no air in there now, it's just the dirty fluid. So I'm gonna keep pumping it for a little bit until I see that this is quite clear, and then we'll do it up. Alright, that fluid is looking a lot cleaner, I believe. So, and our bottle's pretty much full, which is good because now we've got some fluid that we can use when we're going to do the brakes. So let's nip that up and see how we go. So our clutch pedal does have a little bit of play in it, obviously because, well, I would imagine, because we've lost quite a bit of brake fluid doing the brakes. I'm going to go through and do all the brakes, and then we'll come back and we'll bleed the clutch one more time, and then we should be good to go, hopefully. So our fluid line is just at the max, so I'm gonna just top that up again real quick, and then we can start on the brakes. So this is emptying our brake fluid into our Gatorade bottle, gravity and stuff. So now we're actually gonna flush the brake fluid all through the system and bleed the brakes. So the thing is, you have to do the brake furthest away from the master cylinder first. In this case, the master cylinder is on this side of the car, so the rear passenger side is going to be the furthest away. Then we're going to do the rear driver side, then we'll move to this one, then we'll do that one. The brakes themselves have two nipples on them. One is on the outside, one is on the inside. I believe we do the outside first. So what we have is this setup. I'm going to be doing it the solo method. Essentially, there's a bit of brake fluid in this bottle. The hose is in the brake fluid, so if it's going to suck any air back in, it won't suck air, it'll suck fluid. Crack this, stick that into it, go pump the brake a few times. This should fill up and over, any air should come out, and then once we see clear fluid coming through, we can close him and then move on. It is an 11mm. So we should start seeing a little bit of see a bit of fluid coming up. And let's watch what happens when I pump the brakes. So see there's a little bit of air in there, a few air bubbles. Let's keep pumping because I want to get the new fluid through the system. It's important to make sure we keep checking the master cylinder, which we are. Still plenty of fluid in there. Check how we're going on fluid. Yeah, just about halfway on there. That's not too bad because we're nearly done with this one anyway, so we'll probably top this up after this brake's done. I think the fluid now is quite clear, so I'm pretty confident we're into the new fluid. So let's nip this one up and then let's bleed that inside one. Oh, look at the air in that one. Look at it bubbling up out of there. Let's go pump the brakes. That is the two rear ones done. Let's move on to the passenger side front. But again, first thing, let's fill the master cylinder up with fluid to make sure we don't suck in any air. That's the passenger side front all finished. Let's move on to the last one and let's check our fluid. And then honestly, I'm probably gonna go and do the whole system again. That one, this one, that one, just to make sure there's no air in the system, because I don't really wanna put all my wheels back on and go driving and then they still have air in it. So I'm just gonna do it all quickly again, just to make sure I got everything. We've had a blowout, brake fluid, pause, got to repair the little seat. It looks like that's stripped out. That's not very good in my opinion. We're back in action. Let's finish this one off. Hey, that's getting pretty low. Let's top that up. That was a close one. Be more vigilant checking that. My bad. Pretty much the full bottle of fluid that we got out of it. Obviously that's quite a lot and it's quite dark. It's quite rubbish. Like I said, I'm gonna go around and do all these again just to make sure we got nice clean fluid and there's no air in it. And then we'll do the clutch again and then we can put the wheels on and go for a drive. Then we've got to bed these brakes in. Clutch is bled, brakes are bled. This is pretty much topped off at the max. Out of sheer curiosity, let's get this fella. Let's see if it'll get it. That's Mickey Mouse, mate. That's on 0. I messed up. Alright, that's probably not exactly what I said, but anyway, we're doing a voiceover because the receiver died. Why I messed up is because the clutch part of the reservoir actually feeds out of a different part to where the brakes feed out. So you can see that thick line there is where the clutch fluid comes out of and goes to the clutch, and you can see there's air bubbles coming up out of there. I messed up. I didn't realize that part was actually higher than where the brake fluid comes out, so it actually dropped below that line. So these two lines here, these hard lines, that's where the fluid comes out and goes to the brakes. They're actually lower than where the fluid comes out to go to the clutch. So just be wary of that, because that's the clutch line right there, and you can see it's higher than the hard lines. Look at all that air in that line. God damn, that was a mistake made by yours truly. My bad. I messed up again. Why is half the reservoir full of fluid and the other half has no fluid? It's because I didn't notice this, and nothing that I read on doing this mentioned this, is that the front part of the reservoir holds the fluid for the brakes. The back part of the reservoir holds the fluid for the clutch, and they're actually separated. So when I was bleeding the clutch, I was looking at the front going, hell yeah, we got max fluid, this is awesome, when in reality I actually had no fluid. So I actually just did this again. I made the same mistake twice, and now my clutch is full of air again. We're back, got another bottle of fluid. Let's finish this thing off. I did just notice that the receiver for the microphone died, so hopefully the last few tracks didn't have terrible audio. If they did, my bad, I didn't notice. So ain't that a bitch. Anyway, play on. I'm gonna fill this up, bleed this clutch, and we're done. The clutch is all bled. In the reservoir, you really do have to be careful, because that side really does go down quite quick. All of a sudden, you'll pump it a bunch and it'll go nowhere, and then you'll pump it a few more and then it will drop half of it. It's crazy. As you can see, we're a little bit over the max line. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna use this little sucky thing. We're gonna suck out a bit of fluid until it's at the max line. We just gotta make sure, which I already have, but for the sake of the video, that the clutch has some resistance. Yep. So a little bit of travel with nothing, which is pretty standard, and then that's the clutch. So we'll go for a drive and see how it feels, and I might have to bleed it a little bit more. Brakes have feel, good to go there. It's now back on the ground with the wheels on. Let's get in it and let's see if we can get it into gear, and let's see if we can roll back and stop before we roll into the mailbox. That wouldn't be ideal. We get into gear. Yes. Whoa, whoa, we're moving, and the brakes work. Made it out of the garage. I definitely had my hand on the handbrake just in case, but it was fine. Clutch definitely travels a little bit more before it engages, but I don't know, bites a lot better. I don't know if that's the terminology you should use, but that feels pretty good. Brakes worked. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna go bed them in. So the DBA process, what they say is drive the vehicle at 50 k's and brake to 10 k's using medium pedal pressure without coming to complete stop. Repeat this process approximately 10 times and allow a 30-second cooldown period between each brake application. I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna film it because it's probably gonna be boring and it's gonna be too hard, but I'll let you know how I go. Alright, update. The clutch pedal has like very little bite in it, so I'm gonna head home back quick and bleed it again because it's terrible now. Alright, clutch is bled again. Already it feels better in the car just pushing it down. It pretty much feels like how it used to, so fingers crossed it's all good now. Alright, bed-in's pretty much done. It was easy. There's like a little new subdivision over the back of where I live, so it's empty, so that was super easy to do. The brakes feel great. Clutch feels like it used to, so that's pretty good there. That's about it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. There was a fair bit in that. I learned quite a lot. I've never bled anything before, so I really quite enjoyed it. See you next time.